Hello everyone, this is me Benjamin, and this is my second video on the new channel. Now this video is going to be about this little stretch here, and you may not believe it, but I'm standing in a pond. And the pond water levels is so low that I can probably get to the middle of the basins without getting my knees wet. Let's look over there, shall we? As you can see here, the water has dropped so low from its original point that it's practically almost waterless, but it has risen significantly. As you can see over there, new growth that has sprouted during the fall before this winter. Right now I'm in Texas, and this is quite something to behold, because during the winter the water usually lowers down to an astonishing 10 inches. Something also interesting that you may have not noticed, or may not know about water bodies like these, is that they hold interesting organisms that you may not expect to find in a local pond or cattle pen, such as these. This is the shells of freshwater mussels. Now, freshwater mussels are a brilliant little filter feeder that you can find pretty much anywhere here in Texas, along with clams, freshwater clams, and freshwater oysters that usually cling on the docks, like the dock my phone is sitting on now. But there's no oysters present on this dock. I wish there were, they're tasty, but they do contain heavy metals and calamides that would be non-favorable. As you can see by these little guys, this is not as big as they can get. They can get much bigger. A nice little colorful shell, and the dark exterior. Many animals feed off of these little things, such as raccoons, cranes, possums, and even sometimes squirrels, if they're smart enough, which, debatable. And speaking of squirrels, their favorite little food is here too. Up on the dock, little acorns. Just picked them up. Now, acorns around here in Texas, we usually got two types. We either got red oak or white oak. These, I'm not so sure. And you can tell if an acorn is ready for harvest, to eat, for human consumption, when the cap has fallen off of the little acorn without you pulling it off or flaking it. If you see them like this, and they just fall to the ground, they're ready for human consumption. Also, pretty interesting mysteries of the pond here is the amount of fossils that I find. Like, I'm staring at one right now, let me get it. May not be a fossil, but it is an interesting impression of a clam. Oh, I do not know how well you can see that there. But an interesting mussel you can find anywhere. Now this impression is probably anywhere between a few million years old or a few thousand years old. But since it's at the bottom of a pond, a cattle pen actually, that's filled up with oysters, I wouldn't think more older than most. It's probably from a different area that was transported here to make the bottom of the pond and serve as a suitable substrate, which is pretty interesting to me. Pretty cool. Now, these mussels I showed, they can get much larger. Some get to the size of my head, some get to the size of a dinner plate. And just looking right here, I found a couple, already see a couple, that are already bigger than the ones I showed you. Such as this little guy. They usually cling to muddy flats or loose edges. Let me show you. They usually cling to areas such as this. And you can probably see from the video, you can probably already see a few mussels on the ground with rock. Sometimes they're hard to find, sometimes they're quite easy to find. It just depends on how good your eye is. You know what I mean? And they wander all over the damn thing. And here again is the pond. Now the pond is usually not this coloring. The fish in this pond range from small panfish to large group fish. I also released a small snapping turtle here before the winter, and I'm hoping the little dude is okay. His name was Houdini, and I had him as a rescue for almost a year. And as we continue on, let us go under the dock so I do not risk falling in the water. It is 30-some degrees here in Huntsville. Could be colder, but let's not. Sorry for any shaking or uneven footage, but I am working with just a small camera mount for my phone. As you can see here, interesting little burrow den, probably inhabited by snakes or any small mammals, but I would not recommend it. It's also probably inhabited by a crap ton of insects. Now here's an interesting thing. This is a tiny mussel shell. Cute little thing. And also, recently deceased. This is probably no more than a few months, maybe a year at most. This little guy was probably eaten by something such as a raccoon. But since the shell is not broken, I assume that it died of natural causes. Well, back to being in the substrate, it goes. Another thing about cattle ponds, if you live near one, is you'll probably find a lot of junk or trash. Now, I've tried cleaning this pond for the landlord several times, and people keep on dumping. As you can see, there's a couple mushrooms right there in the pitch there. You can see the erosion into the pond from small bays coming in quickly from rainfall. We've been getting a lot of rainfall this week, and the possibilities of freezing. As I walk through these willows over here and all that, you can see something a little different, huh? Type down in the comments if you know what this is. But the highest the water's ever gotten is roughly to where that bark is splitting, which is about 13 feet high in total. Now, it does not seem like we've had that much elevation gain, but believe it or not, we have. Now, keep in mind, I'm over 6 foot, and yet these small walls here tower over me. It may not appear that way, especially if you're eye level with me, such as here, but as you can see all around, they do tower over me at least 8 to 10 feet, even if it does not look like it. Interesting animal scat, I'm assuming some former cat. Interesting plant growth. And you can see a wash burn right there, or a washway. Enough water runs down that way, all the way to here, causing erosion and making a cliff face, I guess you could say, or an indentation. All in all, this place is pretty cool and pretty special to me. I've got plenty of fish, and I hope to release the shorts of that soon, from the earlier time of the year. It used to be higher, and I loved it. Hope all of you enjoyed this educational video on wildlife, and hope to see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching, and have a good day. Thank you. Thank you.